Hello everyone, and welcome to this Netnod webinar on tips and tricks for peering beginners. To start, just a quick overview about Netnod. We're a neutral internet infrastructure organization. We're the largest IXP operator in the Nordics with around 200 connected networks. We manage iRoot, which is one of the world's 13 root name servers. We provide DNS services to top-level domains, including some of the largest country code TLDs in the world. And we also provide time and frequency services, including network time security, where we're one of the leading players in the standards and implementation. So this webinar on tips and tricks for peering beginners is under 10 minutes and is aimed at those who are fairly new to peering. It does assume, though, that you have an autonomous system number and are already connected to an internet exchange. So what are some good tips to get started? Well, I think the first thing you should do is to make sure you have an up-to-date account at PeeringDB. PeeringDB is a database of networks from around the world that peer. It lists the location and peering preferences of these networks, and it's probably the best thing that you can do to find networks that you can peer with and for them to find you. It will significantly increase your chance of making good peering arrangements for your network. Here we see how PeeringDB looks. You see there the Netnod Stockholm Internet Exchange, and here we see the list of networks that peer there, together with the port speeds, their peering details, peering policy, and contact information. You can click through on any of these networks there. So the next thing that you should do is to make sure that your routing database information is correct. You need to check your routing database entry, for example, in the RIPE database or the Internet Routing Registry, also run by the RIPE NCC. If this information is not up to date, the traffic from your prefixes might be rejected. Now, the RIPE NCC provide a very useful guide to updating your routing information here. You want to pay particular attention to your root objects. These connect a specified range of IP addresses to an ASN or autonomous system number. And as these are used by other providers and peers to validate your routes, you must make sure they're correct and up to date. This is, of course, very important if you want to peer with the IX root server. All of your routing information needs to be correct and up to date. What are the root servers? Well, peering with the root server, so for example, if you're at the Netnod IX, you peer with the Netnod root server. It's one of the most effective and simple ways to easily peer with hundreds of other networks. Instead of having to arrange bilateral peering with networks one by one, by connecting to the root server, you can replace all of that with just one connection. And this is particularly helpful because at Netnod, around 70% of the connected networks at the exchange connect through the root servers. It's very simple to set up and enables you to peer immediately with a huge range of different types of networks. Now, connected to this is the Netnod Looking Glass. This enables you to do a number of useful things. It enables you to investigate possible root discrepancies. Once you've connected to the root server, you can also use the Looking Glass to help validate your root server setup. You can use it more generally to search for the specific AS number, peer specific IP prefix, and here we see kind of how you do that on the Netnod Looking Glass. Now, another very important thing you should consider doing is to sign your space, your IP address space, with RPKI certificates or Resource Public Key Infrastructure certificates. These enable you to create what are known as ROAs, or Root Origin Authorizations, and these are extremely important to help secure routing. The RPKI system basically ensures that the routes advertised by network operators can actually be validated. And what this does is that it prevents routing problems, for example, BGP, hijacks, leaks, and leads to more secure routing in general across the internet and internet exchanges. Now, if you have your RPKI and ROA set up correctly, it will mean that your peering traffic can be accepted and correctly routed. Now, don't worry, the RIPE NCC, who are one of the organizations involved in the RPKI system, have some excellent tutorials available to help guide you through this process. And they also provide an RPKI validator, which means that you can check that you have set everything up correctly. If you're interested in secure routing more generally, you can have a look at what's known as the MANAs program. That's Mutually Assured Norms for Routing Security, and that's run by the Internet Society. And links to all of the information we're talking about in this webinar will be made available below. So, once you've done all this, you can start establishing direct peering relationships on a case-by-case basis. To do this, you need to find the networks that are correct for your organization to peer with. How do you find these networks? Well, you can use the Netnod IX Looking Glass and PeeringDB, which we've already discussed, and you can also look at the Netnod IX list of connected networks. Now, when you're looking through these lists of connected networks, the thing to look at the beginning is probably networks that have open or selective peering policies. It's probably best to start with open because it means that they're most likely to peer with your network. And then it's simply a case of connecting them one by one to arrange some kind of peering connection. Another thing you can do to expand your network and peer with more network operators is to look at remote peering. And Netnod have something called Remote IX, which means that with just one port, you can remotely connect to all of the other Netnod internet exchanges across the Nordics. And this is a very cost-effective way to expand your network, and also means that you don't need any other additional cross-connect, colocation, or equipment costs. So this is the end of the quick overview of some tips and tricks for peering. We hope that you found this useful. If there was anything you were missing, or if there was any more information that you would like to see in future webinars, please don't hesitate to contact us at info@netnod.se. But for now, thank you very much for listening, and happy peering.